Hello, darling. Welcome to Narc Free Formula. My name's Freedom. Thank you for joining me. Before I started this evening, I just wanted to say a big thank you to someone I'll refer to as Miss NM, who donated to the channel and sent me a really beautiful note. And I just got to say, it touched my heart. So thank you, darling. I very, very much appreciate it. All right, so tonight's episode is about the future. What is the future going to look like now that you're heading into narc-free future? So before I start, just a quick reminder, if you like any of my videos, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and share widely on other platforms to help me grow the channel. So I've got some notes as usual. All right, so what I was thinking when I got this beautiful letter from Miss NM was I was thinking, you guys don't know me, I don't know you, and yet there's a kind of a connection and a bond that gets formed. But I want you to know that even though you don't know me, understand that I do know this process. I've been through this now for this experience for almost 2 years. I've studied it the whole time, purely just to get my head around, what I actually just lived through, because like a lot of you, I was quite shocked. I had no idea that people like this even existed. I can't believe that it happened to me, and I needed to know more. It's just in my nature. So I spent the last couple of years studying narcissism and the impacts, of narcissistic abuse. And the thing is, so just remember also, that the people that came before you became before me. I'm thinking of people like Kim Wilson, Kim Saeed, Quinn Holiday from ASSC Direct, David Mars. I could kind of go on and on and on, but I mean, the people who came before me and you, and from learning from them as well, I know how the process works. So I can almost guarantee that if you stick to the process, if you steady the course, if you follow the actions that we are all saying, I can guarantee the outcome will be a positive outcome for you. So let's get started. So, I understand the emotions, that everything that you're going through. I understand the sadness and the grief, the confusion and the doubt, and this kind of cognitive dissonance where everything that you thought was real isn't really real, and then maybe you think it is, but oh no, it's not really, and you kind of flip-flop back between those two trains of thought. That is just so confusing in itself. And every time you talk to him, he reaffirms that, he's really a nice bloke. He never really meant to do any of these things. And, the new supplier will, the fact that he's got a new supply, I mean, that just affirms that he's a great bloke, But then somewhere inside you just feel like, no, that doesn't quite feel right. And I'm pretty sure he's not a really nice guy. I'm pretty sure he's an asshole. That's cognitive dissonance. So, there's that going on, the confusion, hurt. So all this emotional stuff that's going on. Right. And that's okay. It's fine. It's good to feel. But what you have to do is you've got to believe in yourself and learn to trust yourself again. So after all the gaslighting and the confusion and the manipulation and the lies, all of that taught you to not trust yourself. But now what you need to do is relearn to trust yourself, to trust your instincts, to trust your intuition, to go with your gut feeling. All of those things are there for a reason. Okay, so when you feel like doesn't quite feel right, trust that. Pay attention to that. So to heal, you need to steady the course, okay? So there's going to be times when you're going to want to give up and go back, but you're not going to. And if you do, what will happen is you're going to end up leaving again. And this time you won't be stuck for as long the second time. And each time you go back, it'll be just shorter cycles, because you'll keep getting on YouTube and watching and learning, and you'll keep researching, and you'll keep learning to trust yourself. And then after a while, you won't even be able to stay in that situation with him. You won't be able to lie to yourself that much. You know, he can lie to you, but you lying to yourself, I mean, that's a different thing altogether. You know, when you learn to trust yourself, you won't be able to lie to yourself. Okay, and there's going to be times when you're going to want to call him, just hear his voice. You know, you miss him so much, you just want to hear his voice, but you're not going to. And if you do, it's all right. You know, won't be long, chit chat. You'll remember why you broke up with him in the first place, why you had to get away from him in the first place. You know, because he lies, because he manipulates, because he confuses you, because he makes you doubt yourself, because it just doesn't feel right. Something about it is not right. And then that in itself will just remind you the man's a narcissist, or the man's a sociopath, or whatever it is that he is. So little by little, you're going to, those calls, the desire to call, little by little, it's going to become less and less. And sooner or later, you're just not going to bother calling anymore. And that is fantastic, because that's where you need to be. And when you stop talking to him and stop seeing him, rose-tinted glasses are going to come off. And for the first time in your entire relationship, you're actually going to see him for who he really is, without him having the ability to brainwash you and to control. It's almost like narcissists are almost like the media, the way they manage the message. It's almost like that, And when the narcissist isn't around to manage their image, and you just have time to think, you will start to actually be able to see him for who he really is for the first time. And then what will happen is you get all of these other feelings come through. You feel sick to your stomach, that's for one thing. You'll be scared. You'll be angry. You might have moments where you just think, what the fuck? Like, seriously, what the fuck? How the fuck could he have done that to me? Why me? Like, why me? What the fuck? Wasn't life, like, he knew what life was like before, And why did he have to choose me? So you're going to have a lot of those kind of feelings come up. And it's okay, once again, feel your feelings, but don't bother to go to the narcissist to get any closure or answers, because first of all, they're just not going to ever give you closure. They're always going to use any contact just to hoover you back in, to get another chance, to use you some more. So there's no closure. Don't bother trying to ask them. Don't ever get on the phone and say, oh, why me, why me? Because, they don't have the answers. They're not that deep a thinker anyhow. They're quite surface level. And, it's like that old Native American story about the frozen snake in the snow. So this old woman finds this snake half dead, frozen in the snow. She digs him out, she takes him home, she thaws him, she warms him, she nurses him, she tends him, she brings him back to life, she feeds him, she gives this snake life. And each day he's getting stronger and stronger, and then one day he turns around and bites her in the face. Straight on the cheek. And as she lays there dying, because he's a rattlesnake, as she lays there dying, she says, why did you do that to me? And he says, look, bitch, you knew I was a snake. So that would probably be the closest answer that you're ever going to get from a narcissist. You knew what I was like. You knew what I was like. And all the times that you came back knowing what I was like. I mean, that's actually how they think. They actually think to themselves, if you came back, you deserved everything you got. You know, if you trusted me, then you're a sucker. That's what they think. And they never admit it. God, no, they never actually say it. You know, they're not actually like an honest snake. You know, they just think it. They don't say it. But anyhow, I think you get the drift of what I'm saying. So look, as I said, you know, we've all been here. So the survivors that came before you, before me, and the message is really, really clear. Everyone's saying the same thing. Trust yourself. Love yourself. Forgive yourself because you've done nothing wrong. And go no contact. That is the only way that you're going to be able to move through this process. Every time that you go back to the narcissist, it just it doesn't take you back to square one, but it takes you back in the process. You know, so it's like 2 steps forward, 3 steps back, 1 steps forward, 2 steps back. You know, it's one of those games. What you need to do is just keep slowly trekking on forward. And it takes time. But you know what? Time is on our side. We've managed to get away. Allow yourself the time and space to heal. You know, it's okay if you spend 6 months, 12 months just healing your broken heart. That's okay, you know. There's this kind of pressure. I don't know if it's from movies or I don't know where it comes from, but you know, there seems to be this kind of pressure that women need men. So if you're single, you know, this kind of, you know, why haven't you got a boyfriend or why haven't you got a man? Whereas I actually think it's really, really healthy to not pick up with the next bloke that comes along. You know, like what's happened to you, it's big. You know, this is big heartache. This is big damage. You know, this deserves some time to reflect upon it, you know, to figure it out, figure out how it happened, figure out your role in it, you know, because we obviously all have a role in our relationships. You know, how did we let that happen to us? What, you know, what signs did we overlook? And why did we put up with such shitty behavior? Like, what in us thinks that that was in any way acceptable? You know, these are the kind of questions that you need to answer, you need to ask yourself and then be able to answer before you even think about moving on to the next man. You know, and let's face it, men are like chocolate. There's going to be a whole world full of men. They're always there. They're always available. You know, it doesn't mean that you have to pick up with the first one or the one after or whatever. You know, I mean, sure, if that's your thing and you want to do it, by all means do it. But in my opinion, I think that it complicates things, and I think this is important to take this time to figure it out, figure out how you got here, and make sure it doesn't happen again. And the only way that it's not going to happen again is if you heal the wounds, the initial wounds that made you think that it was okay for someone to treat you that badly, and you still gave all of your love and all of your trust. You know, you gave all the good stuff to someone who treated you so badly. You know, what in you? This is what you need to look at. What in you? What wound or what damage? You know, who made you think that you weren't worth anything, you know, or that you should put up with that kind of treatment? I think that for a lot of us, you know, it stems back to our fathers and our family, you know, our childhood and our families. And I think it's important that we address that stuff. You know, it doesn't matter whether you're in your 60s, in your 40s, in your 30s or your 20s. It doesn't matter. There's never the right or wrong time to deal with this stuff. I just think that if you don't deal with it, what tends to happen is that you tend to have the same kind of vibrational energy. And when you go out into the world as a victim, as someone who is desperate or needs a man, or all of that kind of energy, that's what attracts predators. It's that kind of low self-esteem, or naivety. There's certain naivety. That's the kind of vibrational energy that attracts predators. It's like blood in the water. All the sharks come out. They can smell it from like 50 miles away. They all come out. It's like a pretty young thing in the pub, with all the blokes kind of gravitating around. It's the same kind of thing. When there's victims, there's predators circling. All right, darlings. So the main thing is steady the course. Get yourself no contact as soon as you can, because the sooner the better. And I guarantee you this, if you go no contact from the get-go, like if you quite literally from the day you leave, if you just have no contact from that point, and I've heard of people doing that. I didn't do it, but I have heard of people doing it. And that to me is A, very freaking gutsy, a good effort, but B, it seems to be the best way to heal. Because basically you are, the message is really clear. It is, you did me wrong. I don't have any energy for you anymore. I don't want to hear anything you've got to say because I don't believe anything you say anymore. Nothing, you have no value to me anymore. And I'm not going to waste any more time, effort, energy on you. You are dead to me. So if you can get to that point, that's where you need to be. If you can get to the point where you have absolutely no contact with them at all, right? The gaslighting stops. And when there's no gaslighting and no manipulation going on, it's amazing how clear it gets, how you can actually see things. You can see what was going on. And it's, not just what's going on now, but, during the relationship and all the things that you couldn't understand when you were slap bang in the middle of it, by just dissecting it and thinking about it and having the knowledge about narcissists, you'll figure out so many little stories, and you'll think, oh, that was what was going on there. Okay. And it becomes almost scientific, I've got to tell you. But you know what? To be honest, being scientific and looking at, analysing your relationship is probably a lot better than manufacturing or making it into something else. You don't want to sit and pine and lust and long for someone who isn't real, who damaged you so badly, who fucked you over so badly. You don't want to sit there pining over them, crying over them, longing for them. Don't do that to yourself. Seriously, darlings, don't do that to yourself. There are so many men in this world. You don't have to, give it all to someone like that. You have more value than that. You are worthy. You deserve more than that. Okay, then that's what you need to keep telling yourself. Because if you think you had low self-esteem when you were first involved with a narcissist, I can almost guarantee you your self-esteem is probably a shitload worse now. And although I'm laughing, that's the reality, and that's what we have to deal with. We have to pick ourselves up. We've got to piece ourselves back together. We've got to look at all the ways that they hurt us, all the damage that they did. And we've got to realize that we are bigger and stronger than them, that they can't kill us. They didn't destroy us. We are still here, and we're still powering on through. So despite everything that they said, all the threats, all the, mine literally threatened to kill me, destroy me, kill anyone that I was ever with. we're all still here. So this is it, my darlings. All right, I'm going to end it there. But my love to you all, and thank you so much for your kind words. It really does mean a lot to me. I sometimes forget that people actually watch these videos. Obviously I've got the stats, so I know that there are a lot of people watching them, but I just sometimes forget, so it's nice to hear. All right, guys, thank you. Bye.